calendar, as it's called, though that's a really, really one-dimensional word for a system that is so rich in mathematics, prophecy, and understanding of our place in the cosmos. The Mayan word for human being, winklil, means cosmic vibratory root. We're supposed to be cosmic vibratory roots, but we're stunted, and we're stunted from realizing that because the truth is that we are living in the incorrect time. The Mayans were the masters of time. They had 17 or 19 calendars that they used simultaneously. That's because they knew time is the factor of synchronization. Time is what synchronizes us. The harmonic convergence worked. Everybody got synchronized that morning. It was a synchronization event. So the point of it is that we're at the end of the cycle. Everyone knows. In July 26, 2004, that's the moment of what we call the big calendar change. That's when we're going to be beginning this shift in human consciousness, going from irregular mechanism out of order. We're out of order because we're following a mechanistic time combined with, which is the clock, combined with the irregular time of the calendar, which creates a very crazy-making, accelerating process. Everyone is experiencing acceleration of time. Everyone is experiencing acceleration of consciousness. We know what it feels like. So we have to get used to harmony again. That's the whole point of this. How many people in the world are for peace? And how many people in the world really are for war? If everyone in the world who exists in the world is for peace could understand this point that we can all have peace if we unify and change the time and say, that's it. We're going into a new time. We're going from a time of war to a time of peace. We're going from a time of fear to a time of love. We're going from a time of chaos to a time of harmony. We're going to solve our problems ourselves, and we're going to enter a new time that is going to reorganize. We want to repair the damage rather than continuing to exploit and consume all the resources. We want to stop and begin to explore our mind. The human species at this point consumes more resources than it can replace and creates more waste than it can get rid of. Is an experience of timelessness. Timelessness is like what I call vertical time.
Yep.
Well, beyond all that, because it introduces a state of mind and being that allows your soul, allows your consciousness to rise and to expand and to transcend the third dimensional physical. Okay, it allows you to go into the fourth dimensional time space. And when you look at what we're talking about, cosmic timing standard like the 13-moon 28-day calendar, when we say perpetual, that means once you introduce living on that, after a certain point, that perpetual time gets you to timelessness. Okay? Because there's no distinction. Okay? So this last cycle of time, this 5,125-year cycle of time from the cosmic galactic Mayan point of view, this is the time of the final testing, the final purging of the previous Atlantises, the previous lost worlds, the previous planets that didn't make it. That all that karma, all of those programs, all those faulty programs are now playing out their last. So now we're at this final testing point, and we got to till 2012. From 2004 till 2012 is 8 years, and so we have to begin to make the shift, because when we change the program, then we're being given the opportunity to change the program. It's like God is saying, okay, you have this one last chance to change your program, because that's the root of the problem. The reason why you haven't had peace yet is because you haven't understood you have to change the fundamental program. You're locked into a program of time that keeps your minds in a state of disharmony, that keeps you jagged, that keeps you accelerated, that keeps you in stress. We sustain the technosphere. The technosphere includes like It's the commodities, it's the urban centers, it's the energy, it's the communication. This is the point at which the biosphere can no longer sustain the technosphere, and so that begins to collapse. The Twin Towers, the World Trade Center, was described in 1985 by scientists who study and define the biosphere as the hub of the technosphere. So when those towers went down, it doesn't matter whether it was actually terrorists or who did it, how it happened, why it happened. It happened. It happened. It inevitably happened. It was the nerve center, the pineal gland of the pointed, that puncture, that was a big puncturing of the technosphere. So now there's a lot of retrograde, regressive action to try to maintain it, but it's not going to hold, because the biosphere is in danger, the global warming, everything else. So what you're seeing is like the technosphere is slowly going to be coming down. It's not pretty, but it's coming down because it's not the truth. It's not natural. It's not the truth. It exists at the expense of the biosphere. It exists at the expense of the Amazonian rainforest. It exists at the expense of the species and everything. Right. So it's inevitable. It's coming down. That's why this is why this is called the end time. And it's coming down because we're headed to 2012. So the point is that, okay, we have to just say, hey, it's coming down. No matter how many flags you fly, it's still coming down. So we're saying, instead of flying flags, let's see what else we can do. Let's see if we can do something about it. And the Mayan prophecies say, yes, you can do something about it. We can be heroic and say, we can stop this. Let's programming device of a culture, of a society, of a people. In other words, when we say, this is the time of the big change. It changes us or we change. We can change. We don't understand that the time we're living locks us into the third dimension. That's why we have so many efforts at getting spiritual courses or doing this or that to get a little peek into the fourth dimension. When we're talking about the harmonic standard of the 13-moon 28-day calendar, that is locked into a fourth dimensional experience of time, which actually has graduated levels and layers of elevation of consciousness that most people right now wouldn't even dream exist. And so I'm just saying that by not taking this opportunity, we are forfeiting the possibility of expanding our consciousness in ways way beyond what even the greatest mystics and dreamers have conceived of. We're talking evolution. It's an evolutionary, okay? It's like, it's trading in an old paradigm for a new paradigm, and the new paradigm is a paradigm of time and not of space. The new paradigm is a paradigm of spirit and not of matter. And we're talking about a qualitative evolutionary shift in consciousness. And just to come together and synchronize on this point, just as an act of goodwill, as Gandhi said about the calendar reform movement in the 1930s, he totally approved of that calendar reform movement because it brought people together in peace on a matter that transcends all the differences.
The 7 vortexual energy centers of the body, also known as chakras in the Far East, move light particles in and out.
We're stunted, and we're stunted from realizing that because the truth is that we are living in the incorrect time. The Mayans were the masters of time. They had 17. understanding of our place in the cosmos. The Mayan word for human being, Winklil, means cosmic vibratory root. We're supposed to be cosmic vibratory roots, but we're... Mayan calendar, as it's called, though that's a really one-dimensional word for a system that is so rich in mathematics, prophecy, and